If I look back at April last year, which is when my journey started and where I am now, there was definitely a 180 shift. Hi, welcome or welcome back. I am Shai and I created this channel with the intention of sharing some of my positive or life-changing experiences that I've had. And my hope is that I will inspire or connect to someone up there in the world who might like the message that I have to share. This is the second of a three-part video. I did an initial video on the overall transformation that I underwent over the course of last year. And today's video is about one of my favorite things, which is food. I have been in love with food since I was a child. I actually have a cooking channel. I'm not gonna reveal it now, but I love food. I love cooking. I love eating. But unfortunately, I didn't have the healthiest relationship with food. And I'm so happy that I could pinpoint that last year and work on my interaction with food. The first thing that I did was to educate myself. This is probably gonna sound ridiculous to some people, but there are certain basic rules that I ignored or neglected, and these rules are fundamental for anyone who wants to do a body transformation through food. The first rule that I never really paid attention to was the basal metabolic rate. And the basic metabolic rate is the amount of energy our body spends if it's not engaged in any activity. If we lay all day in bed, it's the amount of energy that our body needs to keep us alive. And why is it important that if we want to do a body transformation through lost weight or weight gain, that we know what is our BRM or body? Girl. BRM is basal metabolic rate. Sorry. Because in my case, I wanted to lose weight. So the rule is that I had to ingest less amount of energy than my body was spending. And I have to say that I was definitely over ingesting calories. And how can you know what is your BRM? There are many sources online, but I'm going to share with you the one that I found the most simple. So to know your BRM, you have to know your weight. And of course, it depends whether you're a woman or a man. For women, the formula goes like this: 0.9 times 24 times your weight in kilos. Let's just say that your weight is 70 kilos. Then all you have to do is 0.9 times 24 times 70, and that's going to give you approximately 1500 calories of BRM. If you're a man, you don't have to multiply it by 0.9. You just do 24 times your weight, and that should give you your BRM rate. So in order to lose weight, you just have to take that into consideration and eat calories that are either at the level, because you're currently eating more than you should be eating, or a little less than that level, but don't starve your body in the process. Just know your limits. I also educated myself in the importance of eating unprocessed food versus processed food. And what I learned is that processed food has many disadvantages compared to unprocessed food. First, it breaks down a lot of the vitamins and fiber that some unprocessed food contains. It has added sugars and salts and really bad fats. It also usually has higher calorie density, meaning that for the same amount of processed versus unprocessed food, the processed food will have more calories than unprocessed food. So it gives you less satisfaction for more amount of calories. And you just have to conclude yourself that processed food cannot be that good for you based on what I've just said. Another really helpful thing that I started doing was paying more attention to labels. And I started comparing, for example, bread. Let's just say that there are two brands of bread, and one brand per slice has 50 more calories than the other bread, but the slices look the same. I am going to favor the one that has lower calories per slice because that's going to give me the same satisfaction. Perhaps the flavor profile is quite similar, and I'm going to eat less calories. So, paying attention to labels has been very important. I have to say that I have moved away from products that have sugars. If I have the option of buying yogurt without sugar versus yogurt with sugar, I always choose the one without sugar. That goes along with beverages. So I'm not a maniac with that, but I'm definitely more aware because I want to make wiser choices for myself. That also goes with unprocessed food. Let's just say that I want to do a roast with potatoes. I will look online which option is better for me. Is it white potatoes or is it sweet potatoes? So that goes for many, many other options. And I happen to just have made some milkshake that is dairy free, vegan free, and sugar free. So I have been researching for different ways of doing the same things that I like, and I definitely change my openness to different ways of doing the same thing that have a healthier output in the end. And I have to say that the milkshake that I've just made was delicious, and I don't know how many calories less it has compared to the original milkshake recipe. Another thing I can say that I changed with this past year was that I stopped eating until I passed out. Of course, this is an exaggeration, but I used to feel like I had to eat until my belly was completely full, and every meal used to be like that. And I don't do it anymore. I eat until I am satisfied. I don't have to eat like an animal just to prove a point to myself that, okay, I'm completely full. I know I didn't have any, I think I didn't have any eating, how do you say it? Eating disorder, but I definitely didn't eat an healthy way, either in the type of food that I used to eat, but with that habit because I was raised like that. So, yeah, I changed that. So, essentially, what I'm saying here is that I cut my bad food or my bad habits slowly, gradually. And I did it gradually because I didn't want my body to get into a shock. Because if I did it very abruptly, I don't think I would have lasted this long. I would have craved really hard something that I used to eat before if I cut it all of a sudden. So I was kind of smart. I'm not a cocky person, but I did it smartly. So let's just say that before I used to drink a lot of orange juice, a lot of beverages with sugar and wine. You if you saw my last video. So how did I change it? I first of all, sodas, I started drinking sodas with zero sugar. Those have close to 0 calories. I cut down the wine drinking. I'm not an alcoholic. I was not. I didn't struggle cutting it. And what I drank in meals, I replaced a lot with water or with beverages with zero sugar. So that was something very easy to do. And in terms of proportion, I didn't just abruptly cut the proportion of my dishes that I used to eat. I started little by little complementing maybe a side of rice with a little bit of veggies and salad. But that would still make me satisfied with what I was eating, but definitely the choice, looking at my dish, it was a richer dish. And earlier I was talking about processed food. I have to say that I love junk food. I love a burger. I love pizza. I love lasagna. I love going out to eat. Did I cut all that? No, I definitely didn't cut that. I just changed the frequency with which I would eat those things. So these days I am much more strict with myself during the week. By strict, I don't mean that I'm starving myself. No, I just have standards during the week. And on weekends, I just just live as freely as I can and have fun on weekends. So this rule definitely worked for me. I don't know if anyone should do it like that, but I have a more balanced life. Before, I would eat whatever, whenever, because I felt like it. These days, I still eat whatever I like, but not every day and all the time. Another key thing that I found really important was looking at my surroundings. And by surroundings, I mean influences. In my case, I have to say that my husband is my downfall in terms of food because that guy, he loves a pizza, he loves a burger, he loves junk food, probably as much as I do, but I think that he's much more prone to give in to temptation in food. So, looking back, we used to have Domino's Pizza or Papa John's every Friday evening religiously. And he has this thing that he's a guy, of course, but he thinks that I eat the same quantities as he does. And let's just say that there's an entire pizza. He would have 4 slices and leave 4 slices for me, a gentleman. But I don't eat the same quantity, so not that he would pressure me to eat 4, but kind of would encourage it just out of fairness. But I feel like I have to restrain him a little bit with eating habits because I made the decision for myself. Of course, it has an influence on him because what I eat is what he eats, and sometimes he just has his cravings the same way that I have my cravings. But whenever he's diverging from what I consider a healthier diet, I just have to let him do his thing and keep in my mind that, okay, during the week, I'm not going to break my rules just because I have this influence trying to detour my journey. Another important thing in the surrounding has to do with culture. I was born in Mozambique but grew up in Portugal. These are very different countries, but I don't know if you know this, but Mozambique is a former Portuguese colony, and there are many points in common in the gastronomy, but still very different. But one thing that these countries have in common is the inclusion of rice as a side and potatoes in many, many dishes. So these are really heavy sides that I absolutely love. I love potatoes, I love rice, but I had to think about what impact was my cultural background and my cultural surrounding, what impact these two factors were having in my eating habits, and adjust those eating habits. So before making this realization, my meals would consist mostly of meat with a side of rice or potatoes or rice and potatoes. And I started to include other better solutions. Not that I abolished rice and potatoes, but I reduced the quantity of those and replaced them with veggies or salad just to make a more balanced dish. Another thing that I definitely changed was my openness to trying new things. I'm a very picky eater. I was a nightmare to my parents when I was a child because all I would eat was fried potatoes, beef, fried chicken, and that was it. That's all I would eat willingly. But little by little, I changed as I grew up and became a little bit more open to this and that, but I'm still very picky. There are many things that I just won't eat, like cauliflower or beetroot. But in this year, I became a little bit more open, and there are 2 things that I would not eat before that I absolutely love today. The first thing are oats. I have to say that I eat oats for breakfast about 80% of the time, not because it's an healthy option, but because I really love it. And cucumber, the smell of cucumber would make me gag when I was a child. And I think this is probably because the first time I had it, it wasn't prepared with a flavor that I liked. So all my life I've avoided cucumber until last year that I saw this recipe for a cucumber salad that I thought, maybe if I try this recipe, I'm gonna like it, and I loved it. So I love cucumber, especially in the summer. It's a fantastic side to many of the dishes that I make. So yeah, and I'm willing to be more open with other ingredients. Maybe one day I will try cauliflower rice. I've seen that around, but beetroot, I will never eat that. I really hate it. But yeah, being open to other recipes, other ingredients that are healthier is definitely something that I would really recommend. One other thing that I changed was that I began planning my meals because I was very closed down in terms of culture and recipes that I knew how to make. And when I say planning, I think I mentioned this in my previous video, it's not in a very neurotic way. What I say is that, of course, I manage my household, I do the shopping. So when I'm shopping, I'm more intentional. And how am I more intentional? Basically, before I would eat a lot of meat, rice, and potatoes, as I said. These days, when I'm making my shopping, I include a lot of white meats, a lot of fish, vegetables, fruit, and as I said before, sugar-free beverages, yogurts, etc. So when I say plan my meals, it's not because I'm going to plan what I'm having for breakfast, what I'm having for lunch, what I'm having for dinner every day, but I know with which ingredients I'm working. So I definitely change the logic with which I do the shopping for my house. And I have to say, I don't consider my diet restrictive. I'm very happy whenever I eat. I try to make sure that I'm very happy. Even though the way that I cook now is a little healthier, I try to include my flavor profile. I like food that has a lot of lemon, that are more acidic, that are really well flavored. So let's just say that I'm doing aubergine or eggplant. I make sure that I season it really well because I like food with flavor. So I don't eat bland food, I don't eat small amounts. I eat better during the week. And on weekends, as I said, I go a little crazy. But if we look at my week, Monday to Sunday, today compared to what it was before, it is much, much better. And I have to say that other than the weight change, well, I believe I lost weight, but I don't have a scale. I cannot say that for sure, but I think I did. I noticed other things changing in me, like my energy level, my skin, my bowel movements. So I only have advantages. I fully recommend this transition if you're thinking about doing it.